The Galactic Military Academy's graduation ceremony had proceeded without incident for 3 standard hours. Commander Zephys watched from the elevated platform as the bioscanner processed each cadet with mechanical precision. One by one, the diverse species of the galaxy stepped forward. Arcturians with their crystalline skin, vegan telepaths with their enlarged craniums, Centauri warriors with their forearms gleaming in the artificial light. The scanner's blue beam would sweep over each candidate, analyze their genetic markers, combat potential and psychological profile, then display their military classification in holographic text above their heads. Standard Infantry, Engineering Corps, Navigation Specialist. The ceremony moved with practiced efficiency. Cadet Adnan Khan stepped forward when his name was called, his dark hair catching the Academy's sterile lighting. Behind him in the queue, Nehal Rashid offered an encouraging smile. They had been study partners throughout their 3 years at the Academy, pushing each other through the grueling training that claimed 60% of human applicants. The scanner's beam activated, bathing Adnan in its familiar blue glow. The holographic display flickered to life above his head, and then nothing. The beam intensified, cycling through spectrum frequencies that shouldn't have been visible to organic eyes. The display sparked, letters forming and dissolving in rapid succession. Commander Zephys leaned forward, his scaled brow furrowing as the scanner's harmonic shifted to a pitch that made several species in attendance cover their auditory organs. Technical malfunction, announced Lieutenant Vex, the Andromedian officer manning the scanner controls. Her 6 fingers danced across the interface with practiced precision, initiating diagnostic protocol. But the scanner wasn't malfunctioning. Deep within its quantum processors, ancient subroutines were awakening. Code written by the predecessors, the vanished civilization that had seeded the galaxy with technology beyond current understanding. The scanner had been built on their foundation, its creators never knowing what dormant protocols lay buried in its core systems. The blue beam pulsed once, twice, then exploded into a cascade of golden light that wrapped around Adnan like liquid fire. The Academy's hall fell silent, except for the growing hum of energy that seemed to vibrate through the station's hall itself. Nehal stepped forward instinctively, but a barrier of light held her back. "Adnan!" she called out, her voice barely audible over the rising crescendo. The holographic display above Adnan's head solidified, but instead of the standard military classifications, ancient symbols burned in the air. Then, in the common tongue, words appeared that sent shockwaves through every assembled dignitary. Carrier of the flame beyond God's authorization level. Predecessor prime genetic markers, impossible threat. Assessment immeasurable. Commander Zephys rose from his seat, his ceremonial armor clattering. In his 4 centuries of service, he had never seen the scanner react this way. The predecessor classification system was theoretical at best. Archaeological curiosities found in ruins scattered across the galaxy. The golden light began to fade, and Adnan staggered, confusion clear on his face. He looked up at the display, then at the hundreds of beings staring at him in stunned silence. I don't understand," he said, his voice carrying despite the vast hall. "There must be some mistake." Grand Admiral Thex, the ceremony's highest-ranking official, descended from the observation deck. The massive Tausadian steps echoed like gunshots in the silence. His species had ruled their sector for millennia, their pride legendary even among the arrogant races of the galaxy. "Human?" Thex's voice boomed through his translation matrix. "Explain this deception." "There is no deception, Admiral." Nehal stepped forward, her chin raised defiantly. "Adnan is exactly who he's always been. The cadet who scored highest in tactical analysis, who saved 6 lives during the Proxima Station crisis, who carries the genetic signature of beings that transcended physical existence before your species learned to make fire," interrupted Dr. Kellen, the Academy's chief xenobiologist. Her tentacles writhed with scientific excitement as she approached with a portable scanner. The predecessors weren't just advanced, they were something beyond our understanding of evolution itself. The scanner in Kellen's appendages confirmed what the ceremonial device had detected. Buried deep in Adnan's DNA were sequences that didn't belong to any known evolutionary tree. They were elegant, purposeful, and utterly impossible according to current scientific understanding. "The legend spoke of the flame," whispered an elderly Rigelian scholar from the Academy's historical department. a power that burned before the first stars formed galaxies. They said the predecessors didn't die. They became the flame itself, waiting for the right vessel. Adnan felt something stirring within him, like a distant memory that wasn't his own. Images flashed through his mind. Vast cities of light floating between stars, beings of pure consciousness crafting reality with their thoughts, and always, the golden fire that connected all things. "I can feel it," he whispered, raising his hand to stare at his palm. For just a moment, golden sparks danced between his fingers. It's like remembering a dream. The implications hit the assembled crowd like a shockwave. If the predecessor's power lived within this human, what did it mean for the balance of galactic civilization? Every species had built their identity on the assumption that the ancient ones were gone forever. Grand Admiral Thex took a step back, his military bearing wavering for the first time in decades. "This changes everything." Nihal moved to stand beside Adnan, her hand finding his. The golden sparks didn't burn her. Instead, they felt warm, welcoming, like coming home after a long journey. "No," she said firmly, addressing the crowd. "This changes nothing about who Adnan is. The scanner detected something extraordinary, but he's still the same person who chose to serve, to protect others, to stand up for what's right." The crowd murmured, some in fear, others in wonder. But as Adnan looked around at the hundreds of beings from across the galaxy, he realized something profound. The flame wasn't about power over others. It was about the connections between all conscious life, the shared spark that made every species worth protecting. He straightened his shoulders and looked directly at Grand Admiral Thex. "I request permission to continue my service, sir. Whatever this makes me, I'm still a cadet who swore to defend the galaxy." The golden display flickered once more, then added a single word that made several beings gasp. Guardian Commander Zephys smiled, the first genuine expression he'd worn all day. "Request granted, Cadet Khan. The galaxy will need all the Guardians it can get." As the ceremony continued, none of them could have predicted that within a year, when the Void Swarm emerged from dark space to devour entire star systems, it would be Adnan's impossible heritage and Nihal's unwavering support that would light the way to victory. The flame beyond gods had found its vessel at exactly the right moment in galactic history. The scanner had been right, after all.